What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Tasty Tuesday on Tasty Loot Gaming, the show where we talk about gaming news. My name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
And quick reminders that we just did Plus Club, where we covered our opinions on Uncharted 4 and Dirt Rally 2.0. Make sure to check out that episode that came out yesterday. And we don't know what the games are yet for next month, but there are rumors from Chris, and only Chris, he made these up himself, of Dark Souls, and fuck, do you remember the other one? Dying Light.
Yeah.
So those might be them, but then I read something recently that said like that's not going to be them. So we'll see. Take it with a grain of salt.
I know. Druckmann said the games won't be announced till like the first week of May.
So we'll be waiting a little bit. But make sure to download and play our game of the month, randomly picked Jurassic World Evolution, which is a park sim with dinosaurs. Make sure to play that. Come back later this week. We'll be talking about that on Game of the Month and choosing our new Game of the Month. We have Discord link down below. You can talk to us anytime, all time. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms. If you prefer to listen to us, type in hashtag STLG on your comment if you'd like to be considered on TastyCast, where we read your guys' comments and reply to them. If you want it to be read for sure, make sure to type that in, hashtag STLG. Otherwise, we pick it at random. And we have a Patreon link down below if you'd like to support the channel further than just commenting, liking, sharing, and all that jazz. Watching the video, which we appreciate. Everything that goes into it goes right back into the channel. Tasty Tuesday, we have two brief bits of news, but things that I feel like should be talked about. First one being, before even going into it, I want to give a warning right now, and I'm sure you guys already know this already, but I have to do my part in with my small platform here to let people know that there are some legitimate leaks for The Last of Us Part 2 that have been released. I haven't looked into it too much because I don't want to read any of them. But apparently a disgruntled employee at Naughty Dog, whatever the politics there are, released these leaks. And from what I've gathered, they seem legit. And the response from Naughty Dog has seemed like they're not happy with that these are out and they want people to avoid them. So I would assume that they're legitimate. And if you can, try to stay away from Last of Us Part 2 news in general. That's what I would do. I also muted Last of Us Part 2 and The Last of Us on Twitter, so they don't come up on my feed, which sucks because I'd like to kind of be part of that build up and hype, but at this point I didn't really want to risk that. So I'm already seeing YouTube videos pop up going like, we need to talk about these leaks, and I'm like, I don't want to.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear about them. So try and avoid that if you have not heard about that already. Those leaks are going to get around pretty easily. With that, though, we have some information on a release date for Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima, which has been pushed back. Last of Us Part 2 was recently put on an indefinite delay, which is interesting. That just happened recently. And now they have come out to say The Last of Us Part 2 will arrive June 19th. So summer, not that far away. And then with that, Ghost of Tsushima was originally slated to come out the 26th of June, and it now has been pushed back to the 17th of July. Now, that is the news, but I want to talk about real quick, what do you think about the delays that are happening recently? Do we think there's merit to them? Are we upset about them? What do you think about these dates? And what do you think about the leaks?
So as far as like my opinions on the delays, I mean, they're doing what they got to do. And I got plenty of other stuff to play. It'll be fine. I mean, everything's being delayed right now. And even like outside of gaming, like I watch anime, a lot of my shows got pushed back seasons. So It's affecting everything. We all know why. And you know what? It's just one of those years we just got to be patient and deal with it. It's not, something that's easily fixed. I know the argument is like, well, release it digital, but there are still a lot of people who buy physical copies and places that don't have the kind of internet speeds or data restrictions essentially to allow them to do that kind of stuff. So
yeah, you're essentially telling certain parts of the market that these people aren't thinking about or caring about, that they don't get the same release window as everybody else.
Yeah, and especially when you have something that is heavily story driven, or like
100%.
There is a progress to be made. Like imagine getting your copy. There's a weird example, but like Call of Duty like a week late. Well, people are already going to be depending on which version and whatever system they have, they're going to be prestige like 2-3 times by the time you even get a chance to play. So
yeah, and with Last of Us Part 2, a game like that, you don't want a certain group of people playing it like a week or two before other people. It's just that's a game you want to release and try and get as many people playing it at once as possible to avoid that window of spoilers that ironically are already coming out because of leaks.
For sure. And the other problem you're running into as well is once a game's released or a movie or whatever's released, for some reason, games journalism is just ready to talk about it full blown day 2. Like
IGN will straight up start revealing shit before the game gets released.
yeah, and so
Like the night of.
these are all things we want to avoid, man. Like we want to enjoy it together so we can talk about it and be excited at the same time.
I remember a really good example of IGN doing that shit. Sorry, I'm just thinking about that. They do it all the time. It drives me nuts. A lot of times they'll start talking about shit like as the game has just come out or that they've played it and the game's releasing that day and they're already talking about like, here's the best way to get the end game shit. And it's like, okay, chill for a second. Yeah. But I remember when it's a movie, but when Endgame was coming out, Avengers, it was still in theaters. It was like 4 weeks into it, and they were posting like spoiler parts of the end of the movie during the final fight and shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, fuck me.
Yeah.
It's still in theaters. What are you doing?
The worst part is the people defending it being like, it's been out for a month. Not everyone is rushing out, man.
Yeah,
Like,
let it get out of theaters first before you start spoiling the fucking movie.
anyway, yeah. And not to get too into like an IGN rant and all those guys, but I mean, that's essentially a part. Those are all like, there's all these little pieces to why these decisions are made, and I fully support them delaying games. I got way too many games to play. Most of you probably have back catalogs you aren't touching, so play those. And as far as like the windows, summer is kind of a weird time for games. It's usually slow season. Those are some pretty big titles be coming out in summer. So
those are two of the biggest games of the whole year.
Yeah, and it's just. It's an interesting window. It'll be neat to see, big games coming out in summer instead of in the beginning or the end of the year. So, yeah, I mean, the only other thing there is, what was the last thing you asked me?
Just general thoughts on leaks. I'm sure you don't like them.
Leaks.
Like most people.
No, I like being surprised, man. And I sympathize with, if you're being treated wrong in the workplace, being disgruntled. But you, by doing this, aren't really hurting the company. You're hurting the consumers.
They're hurting the company too. They're hurting themselves, but they're fucking over fans.
Yeah,
which is
it's just
unfair.
The wrong approach. Yeah,
it's unfair.
Yeah. So
I get you're upset. I get you might want to hurt the
100%.
company or whatever, but you're hurting people who want to be able to enjoy this without knowing anything about it. Like you completely fucked over a lot of people who had nothing to do with
and that's exactly
what the problem is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you really want to fuck them over, release a video on YouTube and let it go viral and be like, this is what it's like working at Naughty Dog. This is what I hate. That would equally, make Naughty Dog look bad and put them under the fucking, microscope, all that shit. But releasing that stuff, having them track down who fucking leaked it, getting you in trouble, getting you fired unless that person fucking quit, I don't know. And then just ruining people's many years of hype, in ruining that hype by just giving them info that they would have enjoyed more experiencing it than reading it on the fucking internet, or having some asshole fucking post that comment on a forum or some shit that they're just reading passively and it's like Joel's dead or something like that. That's not something I've read. I'm just saying, somebody says something like that and you're like, well, fuck, okay, well, I guess I don't get to see that in a cinematic fashion that would have more impact on me.
For sure.
It's bullshit. I hate it.
And that's exactly my sentiment. So I mean, like I just, there's other ways, and you brought up a good one. If you're planning on leaving anyways, you could do a video in that fashion as well, or go to outlets and share your story. But yeah, this is just not very. You're punishing people who weren't at the wrong, I guess, is the part I don't like. So
yeah, you're not punishing sales. The same amount of people. This isn't going to change anything when it comes to like people buying the game, but you are ruining people's experience, which sucks.
Yeah.
So my opinion on the delays, I think these are completely reasonable. These are still coming out this year. This is coming out in summer. Fucking this year's kind of flying by already. So we're already in spring. We had that indefinite delay announcement, which I thought was kind of crazy, but now I'm kind of seeing that they probably were just getting their bearings, going like, we don't have a date we can give people yet. What do we say? What do we tell them? Because this is going to release soon. Well, I don't know. we don't know when it's going to come out. And then luckily they found a window that seems reasonable. It's not that far out. Now with that leak though, it's kind of shitty to have to wait that long because there's info out there that's legit. And then Ghost of Tsushima being delayed till July. I mean, delays really don't bother me. Kind of like what you were saying. I have so many fucking games to play. I know it's not the case for everybody, but I have so many games that I got to catch up on, stuff that I don't need all the games to pile on. As long as they're coming out at a reasonable rate and they're not being delayed for reasons that are like, oh shit, this game might be fucked. I don't mind. I'm not somebody like I get hyped to get excited, but like I'm not somebody who like needs this right now. Like give it to me, blah 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 blah. I don't care about if the game needs to be polished or correctly made. Like just release it already. I don't have that mentality. So I'm completely okay, specifically with the circumstances of the situation we're all in, all over the world, dealing with something that's never been dealt with in the last like 75 years, 80 years. It's a tricky time that there's no rule book for. So Final Fantasy VII had to learn the hard lesson in front of everybody on releasing a game as this was unfolding, and it fucked up their ability to get games in people's hands at the same time. I think everybody else...
Oh, and replenishing stores.
Yeah. And of course everybody's gonna buy that fucking game. It's a high profile game, but there's people who got it like a week before other people. People got it like a day before they're supposed to get it, and it was just kind of it was a clusterfuck. And there's people who were trying to get physical copies that couldn't get them. And yeah, it's just not the ideal way to release a game. So anybody else who was also going like, oh shit, we can't release a game right now, or watching what happened with Final Fantasy VII and went, we don't want that to happen to us. They're all going to delay their games for a better time, and it makes complete sense. And I think it's if you're somebody who typically has a harder time understanding delays, I think right now is the best time to open up about just allowing people to delay games. I think right now is the best time that if you're going to be understanding of that, it's now. Just because this is not something anybody was ever planning for. And so, yeah, I would expect more delays this year. Every fucking day, GameSpot and IGN are like, this has been delayed. This has been delayed. This has been delayed. I'm like, dude, everything is getting delayed this year. 2020 is a fucked year. We're putting things on pause. If they come out this year, great.
Yeah.
But it's tricky. So yeah, I don't mind any of the delays right now. And I think these are completely reasonable. This is soon. These games are coming out soon still. We'll see if they still come out of those dates. We don't know what's going to be happening in summer when it comes to distribution, how people are being affected health-wise with what's going on, stuff like that. But yeah, leak sucks. Delays, I'm 100% okay with, and I completely understand why they're doing it. And overall, all the delays, I just expect every game and everything this year to either come out next year or be delayed later this year. Mm-hmm. That's my mentality. So if I hear anything's delayed, I keep getting people going like, hey, what do you think about that delay? Same thing I think about all of them. I'm expecting these at this point, and if they happen and they're reasonable, all I can go is I understand why you're doing that, and that's about as far as it goes. So, and yeah, there was like 2 weeks ago, I bought like 12 games. I didn't need to, but I did. And I've played a little bit of all of them, but I haven't beaten any of them. So I could definitely use the time to do that. So
I understand that. Well, not the 12 game thing, but looking at a bunch of games that I like got towards the end of, and I was like, I stopped playing that for some reason.
Yeah, so because more games came out, and then these games would be coming out, and it's a cycle. So
for sure.
Anything else you want to say on these new hard dates for release, delays in general, and leaks?
I mean, we'll get them when we get them.
Yep.
So
I agree. Let us know in the comments what do you think about these new dates. We have Last of Us Part 2 coming out June 19th in June. Ghost of Tsushima will follow in July 17th. What do you think about those dates? What do you think about delays? What do you think about the delays, particularly in this year? Is there something that you're disappointed by the delay of, or do you understand why they're doing it and you can wait? And unless you're somebody who's trying to spread these leaks, please don't fucking do that. What do you think about the leaks? Do you have any recommendations on how to avoid those type of things for people? I just am avoiding anything that says Last of Us Part 2 at this point. Because I know in the comments somebody's just going to go, ha, and post the shit because they like doing stuff like that. But yeah, what do you think about the leaks and everything we talked about? Let us know in the comments below. Second bit of news.
All right. So this is technically a rumor, but the word is that Horizon Zero Dawn is getting a sequel. That will be a PS5 exclusive title with a larger world and potentially co-op play, which I believe you said the first game, it was a thought to add it to that, and they just
It was something they wanted to do in the first game, but they decided to put that effort into other parts of development.
yeah. And then in this case, we don't know if that will be through story or through an optional game mode. I mean, these are, like I said, to begin with, a rumor. And the other note here is that they also believe that Horizon Zero Dawn will end up being a trilogy. So what do we think of the news? What would you like to see out of a new Horizon? And is there anything here that either you especially like or that might worry you?
I pretty much like everything. One word though they use in this article is they're saying that the world's going to be gigantic in scope, which is an interesting word to use because that you could just say it's gonna be a bigger world, but to say gigantic almost feels like it's gonna be massively bigger, which wouldn't be surprising. Again, I want to reiterate that this is just a rumor, but these rumors keep circulating and they keep getting more detailed. So I feel like they may be valid, and I don't think it's too hard to assume that a trilogy would be in mind. That seems to be the system everyone works under at the very least. If you make a sequel, you're typically going to make a third game. That's just kind of how things are. Going back, I loved Horizon Zero Dawn. I think it's a really fucking good game. Really liked it a lot. I think it's a beautiful game. I think it has great imagination. I think it's really fun to play. When I was playing it, but I think about this like with every game, I was like, man, this would be even better with co-op. So it's interesting when I was reading them saying that originally they wanted to make that game co-op. So it was already on their mind. They just didn't get around to it because that was their first, game of that IP. So I'm sure they just wanted to make sure they nailed the game itself. And they can possibly get more ambitious with the sequel. So if we do get Horizon Zero Dawn 2, which I know we will, and it comes with a co-op mode, that would be awesome. I'm already looking forward to this game, but to have co-op in it would be awesome. A game like this, I feel like, would definitely benefit from co-op because it's already really fun. It's really fun to like creep around and hunt these robotic, dinosaurs or like fight them with like crazy weapons or whatever. But that feeling of a hunt with another person, at the very least one other person, I think would be really fucking cool. As for them saying that it could be part of the main story or a separate mode, I would prefer it be in the main story. There's other games that have done this. You could have the cutscenes that play out for whoever's hosting, just play out for them like it would. You don't have to put the second player in there unless they're part of the story. That'd be interesting.
They're just another named character.
Yeah, if they're just like you have like someone else in the game and then that person takes over for them, whatever. And maybe when you're playing alone, they stay at camp or where the fuck, wherever they'd be, town. It's completely doable. And I think that'd be really cool. It'd be a lot more work to do that, but it'd be cool. If they had a mode where you couldn't access like the main story missions, but just random missions around this gigantic world, their words, that'd be awesome as well. A separate mode, that one would still be something I'd be interested in. Maybe do like random hunts or whatever. But I would hope it would be as close to that immersive single player experience as possible because it's just better when you can experience that big world and do a lot of the similar things you do in single player with somebody else, getting that progression, stuff like that. Whereas like if it was a separate mode where you just kind of did like these little mini game things together, it'd be fun for a second, but it wouldn't be as fun. I don't think. So my preference there would be as close to that main story, if not playing that main story with somebody, if you want, as possible. Unless they had a whole separate mode that was like realized and thought out and had its own set of progression and things to work towards, that would be cool. I don't see them doing that though. And then I already think that the world, one thing that they did with Horizon Zero Dawn that almost, it's not a negative thing, but like they really like in one game try to put every biome in it as possible. There's a snow area that came out with the DLC, but on that there was like lush jungles. There's like a desert kind of area. There's a mountainous area. There's grassy fields. They really tried to hit every kind of biome in one game, and it was an awesome world to explore. And it was definitely big. It was great. Not the biggest world I've ever seen, but I don't care about the size of the world in the game as long as it feels full and realized. I don't like a big empty world.
Yeah, it needs to be functional.
There needs to be something there to do. I don't care about like I can go from here to there and it takes like 30 minutes in real time. That doesn't matter unless there's cool shit in that world. It's like with Cyberpunk, they're talking about like, it's not the biggest world we've made, but there's a lot of stuff going on in it. I'm like, cool, that's what I want.
Yeah.
So yeah, but them saying like gigantic in scope really just tells me it's going to be much more large than the original, and that's cool. Specifically if it has that co-op, because exploring a big world with somebody is more fun than being on your own exploring it. But yeah, all in all, I don't think any of these rumors are far-fetched at all. I think they're all really realistic, and I think there is some legitimacy to them. I could definitely see this being a thing. If I were to give a rating on how legitimate I think they are, I'd say probably 85%, probably.
I mean, really, the only thing that I really have to add to that, because I mean, I just pretty much agree, to be honest. Like,
Yeah, I kind of went off.
I'm looking forward to another Horizon Zero Dawn. I did beat the first one.
You did, and it's an open world game.
Yeah.
Chevy does not like open world games all too much.
And it was fun. It allows different play styles and whatnot. And the fights can be pretty long already, so it would make sense to make a co-op setting where you could just pretty much do what Monster Hunter does in a lot of ways. You could have difficulty scaling. You can have, a hub, or all the towns could be hubs or whatever. That's where you could connect with people. Or maybe like, my original thought was maybe the story is going to involve like, a main character and an additional main character, and maybe the second player just takes over that character, or the AI does when they're not playing. I mean, who knows? But either way, I'd love to see some form of, if they're going to do co-op, I want to see some form of multiplayer progression, even if it is just a crafting system. That'd be totally fine. I would actually, I don't want them to necessarily blatantly rip off Monster Hunter, but something even in that vein.
Oh, they could totally just rip it off. That's fine.
The game already had crafting in it, so it wouldn't be too
cool
out of its realm.
That'd be cool to go on hunts.
Yeah. And even if that was just an extra mode that did that, I'm totally down to do that. So
They should literally just make a mode that's like Monster Hunter,
just
except for with their
Monster
sci-fi
Hunter.
fucking dinosaurs.
Yeah. You're fighting robots and
And
stuff.
you just kill them, get their parts, and make armor and weapons.
I feel like no one would complain. So
No. You get people going, they copied. Like, yeah, it's fine. It's fun, though.
yeah.
Yeah, but they copied. Yeah, it's fine. Monster Hunter's great. So is this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they copied. Yeah, but it's fun. It's fun. Just play it.
Especially if they did it well, because like, I didn't get a chance to really play it, but was that Tokaiden was in the same vein as that.
Yeah, we all bought that around the same time. None of us played it, really.
I think Chris did, and then he had kind of like things to say about it. I was like, I'll wait.
You'll wait.
Yeah, to like try it, and then I just never did. So, and then the other one is like Dauntless, and I keep hearing the further you get into Dauntless, like the better it gets, but like it's not the same experience, right? It's definitely inspired, but
Well, I mean, I got close to like the last like 2 hunts, and they did get more interesting, but I was starting to see the end in sight.
yeah. Well, and I know like I watch a guy who plays it every once in a while, and he says every time they add an update, the game just gets better, which is great to hear.
It's good to hear, yeah. Because Dauntless definitely is not Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
It's not as good, but if you couldn't afford Monster Hunter, it's a great alternative.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing there too is to wrap back around to like my point there is if they're gonna do something like that, and not saying they are, we're purely doing speculation here. I would prefer it not to be that mode that people go, well, it's not Monster Hunter. Instead, hopefully people are like, oh, have you played that multiplayer mode in Horizon? I'd rather hear, So hopefully they put the time in. They're not the type of company that I would imagine they would half-ass anything. So
They never have.
Yeah,
They
so-
made Killzone before, and say what you will about which Killzone's the best one. They worked their asses off on Killzone.
for sure.
So,
And-
except for Shadowfall, but that was like a launch title, so they had to get something out that looked good.
For sure. And then, anyone who's played Horizon knows that the game was very, very detailed.
Fantastic.
So,
It's awesome.
So, I'm just kind of looking forward to it. I will wait to hear official announcements to get actually excited, though. So,
For sure. Anything else you want to say on it? Let us know in the comments, what do you guys think about these rumors that keep growing about Horizon Zero Dawn 2? What do you think about a gigantic world? What do you think about possible co-op? Do you want that? And if you want that, would you prefer it to be main story co-op, a separate mode, or something else, even though that would technically be a separate mode? What would you want from co-op? what do you want from Horizon Zero Dawn 2 in general? Yeah, let's know everything you're thinking about when it comes to Horizon Zero Dawn 2. Also, how valid do you think these are? Do you think this is legit? Do you think this is completely bullshit? There's no way this is possible. I think it'd be pretty bold to say that because these are kind of like, yeah, I mean that's loose enough. That's probably true.
The game also did just fine. It'd be crazy if they didn't make a sequel.
Yeah, it'd be weird if someone's like, there's no way they're making a sequel. I'd be like, nah, I'd beg to differ. I think that game was more well received than Killzone. So,
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, let's know everything you're thinking about in the comments below. But that's going to do it for this episode of Tasty Tuesday on Tasty Loot Gaming. So always thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check us out on Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok at Tasty Loot Gaming. Check out our streams, links down below. Check us out at our Discord, link down below. You can talk to us anytime, all the time. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms if you prefer to listen to us in audio form. And yeah, my name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
And until the next episode, which will be later this week for Game of the Month, talking about Jurassic World Evolution. Have a good week, guys, and take it easy.